Patrol. I'm your host, Sophia Marie, and today I'm in Northbridge at the WAM Festival. There's over 100 bands, there's over 12 venues that are supporting these acts, and it's just going to be a phenomenal festival. I'm going around as many places as I can to capture as much as I can just to show you guys how wonderful the Perth local music is. Thanks.
I've been following the charts as I suffer for my art. Comfort cold in her embrace as another takes my place. Now my moment in the sun, shining on another one, shivering my winter's cold. A tragic story left untold.
So I'm at the Mustang Bar and I'm here to see graphic fiction heroes, and hopefully after their set I might be able to interview them. Fiction heroes today at the WAM Festival in Northbridge. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes.
First of all, I want to just congratulate you guys on winning the WAM Song of the Year for First and Last. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Well, from my point of view, it was, to be quite honest, a welcome return to some sort of recognition. I've been a winner in the past, a long time in the past.
Okay.
So for me, it was like the satisfaction of having entered, for the last 10 years or so, and not really getting a lot of sort of, well, not even getting a nomination sort of thing. And then with this first album we've done with GFH, we got one on the board. But I don't know what it was like for the guys because it was their first time involved at all. So from Matt's point of view.
And I mean, how many artists apply for trying to get into this kind of competition?
This year, the WAM Song of the Year had 1,600 entries across 16 categories, I think. Something like that.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, was it a big ceremony and they got presented with a trophy, and what was it like?
Every year they do it, for a number of years they've done it at Fly By Night.
Okay. So
we went down there. And it was funny, we walked in, right, we were on time, the three of us went.
Yeah.
Joe was overseas at the time, and we got there and we thought, this is a long shot at best, but it's great to pick up a nomination. It'll help us move the album along,
Yeah, yeah.
And we literally got in there, ordered a drink and found a place to stand, and then there was a lady on stage announcing the nominees for the Country Award. So it was like, it was the first cab off the rank. We hadn't even had time to start worrying about it.
Yeah.
And then we were called out as the winners. So it was like,
was it a
drink,
shock?
stand, straight up.
And it was a big shock?
It was a big shock. I mean, if you're, what do we have? Johnny Taylor, the Ghost Hotel.
He had 2 nominations.
Courtney, the female country artist. I can never remember her surname. But Courtney was in there as well, and it was all good songs,
Yeah,
and they're all well-known artists that are doing a lot of touring. Ghost Hotel won it last year for their songs, so I felt we were in a very tough sort of category, and it was brilliant. Yeah.
Would you say, like, over the years, because you said you previously won these type of awards, right? So how many of awards have you won for, like, best song? Or...
WAM Song of the Year, I've won the rock category with my band Full back in 1998. God.
Yeah, because you've been going for how long have you been going for? Like,
I've been in this for about 26 years. I've been playing guitar and playing gigs and stuff. And then 2000 for a song called Heard Her on the Radio with my other band Kingpin.
Yeah, I remember.
Since then I've picked up a couple of nominations here and there, but then it went just really dry for years, and then the co-write with these guys, and we're back on the map as far as that goes. And that led to our gig just then at Saturday Spectacular because we became category winners, which is brilliant. So it's opening some doors for a relatively new band. You know?
Yeah. So your debut album, Who Will Save Us Now, has had a lot of great reviews. A little bit nostalgic. The central theme appears to be a struggle between being a musician and the relationships with people around you. Am I right with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of the songs.
What inspired you to dig so deep emotionally?
Well, why don't you take let's look at a couple of the songs. If you take Oh Well, that was you kind of brought that one in.
Oh Well actually hit me. It struck a chord with me because I've experienced the scene as well.
Yeah.
And I can relate to what that stands for. And I think that's a highlight on that album. You know what I mean? But,
so does this guy. This guy likes it. This is our newest guy. This is Dan Toll, keyboards. And
so okay, let's
try to bring him in.
Yeah.
That's
So how did you get into graphic fiction heroes?
that's what I want to know.
Yeah. What?
Very sneakily.
Sneakily.
Yeah. No,
guys-
we've been in bands. together.
We've been in bands before, but check out how he gets into the band, right?
Okay.
He rings me up one day and says, "Are you going into Whopper today?" And I said, "Yeah." And at the time, he lived on the way from my place to Whopper. And he goes, "Can you just come over for a little while beforehand?" I go over there, and he wants to check chord sequences and stuff because he's been secretly learning the whole album, right? And I listened to it, and he basically sits me down and goes, "So check this out." He put the CD on, and he's playing all these piano parts that some of which are there and some of which aren't there on the thing. And he'd worked out all these parts, and I said, "Do you want to do a gig?" And then he stayed
Were
in the
you
band.
advertising for
No. No, he
a
just
keyboardist?
forced his way in because he had nothing else going on.
Well,
And I loved it, and I
have
spoke to Matt about it. Matt loved the idea of fleshing out the lineup, so
I have
we
to
did
say
it.
it sounded really good today.
You don't have to say it.
No, but I'm gonna say it. But
You bloody better say it.
no, it really does sound really good. I've
Yeah.
seen you guys play a few times, and you guys sound just like the album.
Well,
Really,
thank
really.
you. That's a very
the
high
tones,
compliment.
your voice. You need a backup singer. You know, you need to do some backup singing for him or something.
These guys are both actually working on their vocals at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that 2014 may bring some harmonies into the band. And I think the thing, personally, what I think,
Just some octaves.
I think the thing that'll cement it is if we do some new recordings next year. I
Yeah.
think if I get the guys to actually do their part on the recording,
Yeah.
it might help with confidence and solidifying that. But yeah, 2014 is going to be the year of harmony vocals for this band.
So going into going into Oh Well. Chris, every time I see you, since I've met you, you've been really upbeat, really positive, outgoing. Yet this song really reaches into the pain and heartache of trying to make it in the music business.
Yeah,
Why did you decide to show this other side of yourself with this song?
well, check it out because like we already had songs kind of up and running that hadn't been worked on as much yet. We had it was towards the end of the record, but we'd already put in Too Highly Strung was developing. That was one that I wrote separately, so the guys weren't really aware of what was going on lyrically with that anyway. But we knew that we had First and Last already. That has similar themes.
Yeah, that
So about
does. Yeah.
2/3 of the way through the writing, Matt actually brought in what essentially became, say, 70% of the lyrics for Oh Well.
Really?
Most of the
Wow.
lines were
Okay.
there.
Okay, so shush. You tell me the reasons behind writing those lyrics. Tell me.
Pretty simple. Like every time I've stepped up to the plate on any project I've always worked on, and this is like goes back to Velvet Set Drive, and working with guys like Rob Walker and Steve Leader, and they're very talented musicians, and even Rob Walker at the moment has been very, very successful, and he's kicking ass on a lot of runs. But for me, it was like you made a lot of steps that I've had through going through WAPA, getting very close to producing my first record, and I've never actually landed a record with me being a songwriter on it.
Yeah.
And until Chris Gibbs's Little Empires album, I didn't even get to be on any record in my whole life. And I've worked very hard on it, and for me, I absolutely was seeing that step, and for me, the lyric that solidifies that whole track is the world's my oyster, but I can't taste it, and it's simple as that.
I think it's brilliant lyrics, you know. And it makes you want to cry when you listen to it, because you, especially as a musician as well, and going through the same things, it's just like, oh God, you know.
The writing for that, the writing session for that song was a little bit emotional, and when Matt opened up to me about what it was about, it just started this thing. We started back and forthing, and that oyster line, that's wicked. That's there. Let's put this here, and we threw a couple of different couplets in there, and then we related it back to some of my experiences, and we put it together, and it's a tighter little song, and it ties in with Too Highly Strung and First and Last, and Poor Middle Class White Boy Blues even has a little bit of that tongue-in-cheek music industry thing. I mean, we thought it was going to be a concept album, didn't we? At one stage, we thought maybe the whole thing is about a band trying to develop itself in the industry, and we thought about taking the character thing a little bit further, but I think in the end, after a brief discussion, we thought that it might be a bit too much to take on for a band doing its first album together. So we decided just to write theme-based tunes that do interlock, but not at concept level, you know? We'll save that for our triple CD or something.
It does have a strong concept to it, as far as the musical struggles and the relationships when you are trying to pursue a music career.
Well, I think we definitely set out to write an album.
Yeah.
We didn't write until we had 10 or 11 songs and then say, let's go make an album. We knew we were writing an enclosed complete recording. So I guess we were kind of always writing in a direction anyway, even if it's strayed away from the music industry, because there's relationship things, there's lots of different types of songs on it. But it all kind of comes back to that central theme of the struggle. You know?
It does. One of the lines in the song, alter ego, brave and brash.
Yeah.
Is this smiling man I see before me the real deal, or is this the alter ego?
I reckon I could say both. I mean, the guy could be.
What do you think?
I think the guy could be as deep and emotional as you can ever imagine. And when obviously there is a facade with Chris when he's out in the marketplace, and he's always, you know, the whole Kiss thing, you know, the whole brand that you see with Chris, he's always very, very careful with what he says in the community. Very careful with the way that he approaches people, and he respects the community and respects what the community offers him, and he's happy to repay that back to the community, and he's always looking after, especially, you know, now he's a lecturer as well, he looks after I call them his kids, and he really is very careful with how he looks after them. He'll even like have a few jokes with them, and, you know, give them a few little hurtful parts of the community where, you know, it's not an easy ride, so you guys have to work hard for it.
Yeah.
But he's always going to support them when it's time of need. And I can even put this to out when I broke up with Velocet Drive, I was absolutely gutted for not 3 months or 6 months. It was years.
Yeah, a long time.
Years. And I still feel the pain of that breakup even today. And there's jokes that
you make emotional ties with people when you're working so closely knitted with each other. And it becomes like a marriage, and when you do have a breakup, which I've experienced before, it does gut you, and you lose yourself when it happens, and it is hard to recover from that, you know, because it's a breakup. It's like a relationship breakup. So yeah.
I think it's worse than a relationship breakup. Honestly, it's hard. I reckon it's harder to get over the amount of ties that you have, because you're not just tying in friendships, you're tying in artistry, you're tying in musicianship, you're tying in so much so much stuff that ultimately, when it breaks, you're not only breaking up the friendship relationship, you're breaking up all that hard work, the investment that you put behind it, and it absolutely smashes you. And I remember when Rob left the band in Velocet Drive, and it split. I remember we had another singer for a while, and it just didn't work, and basically the whole band imploded on itself after that point.
It just collapsed.
And I remember sitting in my bed laying there, and the bass player called me up, who was in the band at the time, said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I just can't do it anymore," and I literally turned off the phone, and that was it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a killer thing, and I think that really cements what the album's about. And Chris has had so many things on that level as well throughout his career, where it's like being full.
How do you keep going when you have these kind of setbacks and stuff? What keeps you going?
For me, I just view
There's a lot of these
music for me,
experiences can be
yeah.
very heartbreaking.
music. Yeah, music for me is a blessing and a curse. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
It's the greatest and most cruel thing I've ever known. And the best and worst thing I can say is that I'll be playing guitar until the day I die. And you can look at that either way and take it as a positive or a negative. But I am gloriously resigned to the fact that this is who I am.
Yeah.
And no amount of setback and disappointment can take it out of me.
Yeah.
God knows I've tried, you know. But
I was wondering, I want to ask you this question, basically, before you become famous, and before Dave Hughes asks
you
you
better get in quick.
Before Dave,
Time's up.
Too late.
before you're featured on the project, what's the reason behind the name Graphic Fiction Heroes?
Oh, brilliant. Easy one. That's an easy one.
Tell me.
It was pure necessity. The three songwriters were Chris Gibbs,
Okay.
Matt Ferguson, and Gareth Hughes, GFH. I contacted my agent and good friend Frankie G and said, "Man, we've decided to go away from a solo project and move towards a songwriting project for the next thing. I need a band name. Have you got anything?" Because he's great at coming up with band names. And he said, "Man," he goes, nothing is immediately coming to mind, and of course I haven't, at the time there was no material.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he goes, "So I don't really know what you want to do." He goes, "But why don't you start with the first letter of everyone's surname and go from there?" I started working on it, got it down to about 5 with him, and none of those ended up being the one. We got it down to a couple, and then I sent out maybe 2 emails to the guys, and we ended on Graphic Fiction Heroes, and then it took off because of the writing.
The music.
The writing started, everything started moving towards this name. Once we had the name.
It's Who Will Save Us Now song.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, like
Exactly.
superhero stuff, you know
Once
what I mean?
we had the name,
And everybody loves
everything
superheroes.
came together. And even though Matt, the first thing that Matt and I looked at was When in Rome.
Yeah.
But the first thing we looked at as the three of us was actually Who Will Save Us Now.
Yeah.
And that was one of the songs that had absolutely no preconceived notion when we walked in. Matt had what became the verse chord change.
Do you play other instruments besides drums?
At a very limited level.
So he came with this.
Well, he
idea.
came in with, we wrote them all on guitars,
Okay,
three of us playing acoustic guitars, and he came in with what became the verse, and Gareth came in with what became the release and the chorus.
Okay.
We started talking about melodies, we were sitting there discussing it, and then I sort of said, what about this superhero thing? We started heading it off in that direction, and then once you had the centerpiece for the album, the whole thing it blew it wide open, and we just started writing that theme that we spoke about.
Definitely revolved around that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we had that one on the board, everything locked in with the band name.
What attracted you to the band? You know.
This guy.
Like, because you said you kind of sneaked in, but what were you thinking prior?
No, that's the question.
Yeah, you can
What
stop
were
right
you
there.
What were
thinking?
you thinking?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was in for. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I've been in other projects with Chris, and he's just one of those guys that you know if he's involved,
It's gonna be great. Yeah.
He doesn't muck around at all.
What were you doing before? What were you doing with yourself before you decided to kind of crash into his band?
Party crasher.
Yeah, just whatever, you know.
Were you playing in a band or doing your own thing?
I've done it for a living always since really, so nearly 20 years. Just playing whatever parts kind of needed. Just kind of go, this band needs this player, so you go, well, I might be able to do that, you know. Which is obviously the keys thing that came up with Chris.
Because Dan, I mean, you would describe yourself as a bass player first and foremost.
Yeah.
Dan plays a lot of bass with us in different projects.
Okay.
You know? But we've got a bass player.
Yeah.
And
He's
so
phenomenal.
he snuck in on keys.
Yeah.
You know, just here. Well, what about this then? You know.
So just to kind of like tie things up, what does the future hold for you guys? What is the next step?
Well, we've had the future presented for us, really, haven't we? Because we've got some recording time at Soundmaker as part of the prize for the song.
Okay.
We've got a slot at the Boyup Brook Country Music Festival next year as a result of the win.
Okay.
And we've got a basic idea together to get out I reckon 2014 will be a new EP with all new songs from Graphic Fiction Heroes, and of course with the new lineup, because the existing album of course is the old lineup.
Yeah.
So we'll be putting the new lineup into the studio and getting a shorter release out for early 2014, and then I think we need to get a little bit further afield. We haven't taken the band regional yet. We haven't been interstate yet. We need to sort of spread our wings a little bit.
Okay.
And start writing towards another full length. It's going to be a 3 CD concept record.
Oh wow.
No, it's not really. It's not really.
But, you guys should do like a video and dress up as like superheroes.
It's actually just 3
and stuff.
solos, just that go for 45 minutes each.
You guys should just dress up as superheroes and do a video.
Well, you know what happened?
What?
We were originally talking about actually creating characters for this band.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we didn't in the end, but the reason why we didn't is because the other band that I played for, Axe Kane, pipped me at the post and came up with their artwork with everyone in the band turned into monsters. And they announced that like about a month before we were ready to start rolling, and
that's
they
a
kind
totally
of stole
different.
my
That's
idea.
a totally different thing. They're not doing superheroes. They're doing like monster zombie stuff. This is
but it's another Chris Gibbs project that would have me masquerading as a different character.
True.
I mean, you know,
That's that whole.
as you said earlier, apparently I'm fake enough as it is. So
didn't
let's
say
not worry
that.
about more characters. You know.
I didn't say that, but because of the depth of the lyrical content on your CD.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would expect, you know what I mean? Because every time I see you, you're just, you know, full of positivity, and I'm just, you know, you're overwhelmed with.
I mean, I don't know how Matt views this, but I think that there's an element of hope to all of the songs on the record.
Yeah.
So I tend to look at all of those songs in a positive light.
Yeah.
I believe that lyrically, even when it gets a little bit sort of dark and examining the challenges and things like that of daily life or industry or whatever it be, I believe that the songs remain squarely focused on hope rather than despair.
Yeah.
And even though the sacrifice isn't really sacrifice. I mean, you know, doing what you love isn't really a sacrifice. You know, sure it's not succeeding, but you're still loving it. So at the end of the day, you know, we always hear about the musicians going, this is such a sacrifice, I'm rehearsing so hard, I'm writing so hard, not getting anywhere. At the end of the day, there's that guy who jumps on a bike, does a triathlon, and no one even knows what he does, and he loves it, and we're no different. So you know, at the end of the day, you know,
I agree. I think the reward is in the work itself. Myself, I think you have to love it. You have to love it. You've got to love the struggle and the challenge, and you've got to take the setbacks in your stride. But I think the success is the work itself. You know? Yeah. That's how I like to feel. Well, I've got no success, so I have to. I don't have a choice, you know?
I just want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you, all three of you.
Yeah, good fun.
And I hope to see you all out, you know, gigging again. So thanks for joining us on Perth Music Army Patrol, and I hope to see you all out patrolling the pubs.
Yeah!
Bye.
Brilliant.
I always said it came first. I know I miss your birthdays, weddings, parties, everything. But I wanted to go.